Kimberly.
Hi, how are you? I'm Jeremy.
Nice to meet you, Jeremy. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
So I'm a counselor here at this agency, so I'll be working with you. And just to go over a few of our logistics here. The first session is only 30 minutes.
Okay.
And if I feel like you are a harm to yourself or a harm to others or someone is harming you, I will have to report it because I'm legally bound by that. So I just wanted to let you know that up front. I think that's all of the logistics I have for you.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what brought you here, what difficulties you're having.
Lately just been feeling out of it. I've been really tired more than I usually am. Like the other night I went to bed. Like 6 o'clock. Like right when I got home, and I had a test the next day too, and I needed to study for it. And I grabbed my books. I was on the bed and I just knocked out. And I figured, okay, if I go to bed now, I can wake up early in the morning. I didn't wake up till like 8 the next morning, and I had to go to work. So, and that's been going on for a while. Like I've been going. It seems like I'm just like knocking out earlier and earlier. Not necessarily going to bed, but I'll come home from work and just I'll sit down on the couch just to rest for a second, and that second turns into maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, and usually I'm up, I'm energetic, I got stuff to do, but lately it's just, I don't know why, because I was trying going to bed earlier and getting more sleep, but it seems like it doesn't really affect it as much, because there are days where I'll get maybe 2 hours of sleep and I'll be fine, and there are other days where I'll get a full night's rest and come home exhausted.
Okay. So you're trying to stay awake because you go to study and you even then you just fall asleep. You can't control it at all. Okay. So can you go through what a normal day is like for you?
Normal day, I work as a substitute.
Okay.
So I work there. So I leave the house at 7. I get to school about 7:50, 8 o'clock. That's when the school starts. Usually ends around 2:30-ish on average. And right from there, I have school Tuesdays and Thursdays. So right from there, I go straight to my night school.
Okay.
And that's on Tuesday and Thursday. And Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, for a while I was doing, I had a Bible study group that I met on Mondays and Fridays, and then there was a Wednesday night service. But recently I actually stopped going to one of them just because it was getting too much lately, and I realized I had to cut one of them out. So.
So you cut the Wednesday night service or the Bible study out?
The Monday one, I kind of said I'd go if I got a chance, maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months. Also, the other thing too is I started coaching at my old high school.
In the evenings?
Yeah, so right after school gets out on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'll be there for about 2 or 3 hours. If we have a game too, I'll stay. Okay,
so like till 4:35, around then, you leave and come home, and then you have something. You had something every night of the week, but now you've cut back on your church activities. Okay, so you're very busy. How do you feel about that? Is that ever overwhelming for you? Are you handling it okay?
I'd say the part that's kind of overwhelming for me is that I go to school because I live out in Chino, I work in Walnut, and then I go to school in Azusa.
Mhm.
So it's kind of a triangle trip for me, I feel like. One, I'm spending a lot of gas to go here and then come back up and then go back home. And the other thing is just time, especially on Tuesdays, Thursdays. Like, I go to work at 7, and there's no sense wasting the gas going all the way back home and resting. I just kind of have to push through and go to my class later that night. And so for a while, there were nights where I'd be leaving the house at 7. I wouldn't get home until about 9 in the evening.
Wow, that's a long day.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not getting home until 9 on Tuesday, Thursdays, and the other days you have something going on till usually around 5, and then it's on those days that you come home and you try to study for the Tuesday, Thursday classes, and you're falling asleep right away.
And it's not necessarily like an everyday kind of thing. It's like maybe it'll happen once or twice a week. It's kind of sporadic too, because it doesn't necessarily fall on the nights that I'm out really late. Or I haven't really seen because usually it's on the nights that I get home relatively early, like maybe a day where I don't have practice. I got home at like 2 or 3. That was the last time I just kind of fell out. And the other day I got home at, I think I was 4:30, maybe 5, maybe 4:30 even. I got home early, and it was just, I mean, there are nights where when I get home late and I just feel tired and exhausted, but recently it's just because I haven't really been able to like understand why I'm tired these days, why I'm tired here and there.
I see. So it's on those days where you are actually able to come home early that you're having this problem of falling asleep when you get home, correct?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, not every time.
It kind of varies. Like,
when that happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it kind of like as long as you keep moving and you're still doing things, you're not home to fall asleep? Is that kind of how you're feeling? Because I see that you have these activities, and those are the days that you're able to stay awake and keep going. But on those days, are you feeling tired even when you're going through coaching and Bible study and subbing and things like that?
Sometimes I get tired. Like once or twice. Like, I might get tired depending on what I'm doing. Like if it's, because a lot of times even during the sedentary activities where I'm just sitting and listening, I'm fine. And I guess you could say it's when I stop that it's kind of when my body takes over. But even then, sometimes I'm able to at least push through and keep myself awake.
Okay. So have you always been someone to take on a lot of activities and be willing to lead things and do things after hours? Is that kind of just what you've always been used to, or is this a new thing?
I've done a lot of stuff after hours. I played sports in high school. I was involved with different stuff at my church in high school. So I used to do a lot of stuff like that.
And did you ever have any difficulty like the difficulty you're having now back then when you were in high school in taking on these types of activities?
High school sometimes. I don't know. No, high school I was fine.
You're fine.
Even in college I could go maybe 36 hours without sleep on it sometimes. And it wouldn't affect me that way. This is why it's kind of weird for me that taking naps in the afternoon, I never used to do that.
Okay, so is it often a nap, like you'll wake up and then go back to sleep, or do you fall asleep at like 6 or 4 when you get home and sleep all night through?
That just happened maybe rarely, a couple times. Usually it's just kind of tired, like just feel like a lack of energy, a lack of. It's usually when I'm like, thinking about like. I've noticed a lot of times it happens like when I know I have like a lot of work to do or something, and I like again like I had to study for the test and it just took over. I just felt tired and.
Okay. So, what are you thinking that there's a correlation between you falling asleep and feeling tired when you have things due for school or homework to do? Is that what you're thinking?
I have noticed that a couple times. I mean, there are those times where I'm not really sure why it hits, but yeah, I have noticed that it does kind of happen there. And then another night, came home from a game, I was gonna go out with my cousin who I haven't seen in a while. We were gonna hang out, and like right when I was supposed to be ready to go, like just felt like really tired and just like the game ended at 5. I got home. I hadn't eaten a lot that day, so I came home. I ate. Probably ate more than I should have, and I went down to sit down, just rest and chill until it was time to leave. And by the time it was time to leave, I just felt exhausted.
So you mentioned that on that day you hadn't eaten a lot, and then you came home and ate a lot. So I'm just wondering about your eating habits, if things are usual for you, or if I don't know if something has. You haven't been eating as much as you should have, or as much as you usually do. Is that true, or how?
Well, because Lent came up, so my eating habits have changed a little bit. And I also started bringing my lunch, which is harder though, because again, I'm out all day, so it's hard to kind of bring for the whole day. But I'll say even before. I mean, now I think about it, like I have noticed it a lot this last couple weeks, but I mean, even before then, it was still kind of.
So before Lent, it was still happening? Before you changed your eating habits?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit,
yeah. Okay. So you feel like throughout your day you're eating as much as you would have usually, and.
Well, not right now, but before then, yeah.
Okay. So I'm wondering, since we were talking about the correlation between schoolwork and your tiredness, how's school going for you? Do you enjoy your classes?
They're classes, I realize I have to kind of do it if I want to graduate, get a degree, get a job. I kind of have to go through it.
And how's the workload for you?
The work is it's not too bad. I do have some issues with procrastination, so that might affect it a little bit. But I mean, the work is work. It's the same work, I guess. I mean, I guess if I started earlier, then I wouldn't be as stressed out later on when I have to do the big assignments.
So I'm wondering, on those occasions when you have fallen asleep early and you had something due or you were supposed to study, how did you resolve that situation? Were you still able to get in what you needed to? Or?
I usually, crammed a little bit during work and tried to remember some of the stuff that I remembered. did okay, not great, but
did what you could.
Yeah. And I think part of it was just kind of like, I'll do the best I can. If I don't do well, then,
Okay. So, I'm just wondering now, you're saying this tiredness is your problem. How is it affecting your day-to-day life? Is it just that you're maybe missing out on things because you said you didn't go out with your, cousin that night, or because you act like it's not really affecting your schoolwork? So I'm just wondering where you see it in, affecting you.
I don't know, it's just kind of like a weird feeling for me. I do feel like I miss out, but I feel like it's almost like I don't really, things that I would have been like really excited to do, like going out with my friends and doing all this stuff, now I just feel like I'd rather get rest or sleep than do the things that I once enjoyed.
So, okay. So you feel like maybe your sleep needs aren't being met, and that's more of a priority to you than, in this case, going out and socializing. Is that correct?
I guess. Yeah. Kind of. Like, usually, like, sleep doesn't mean, because I would have thought to myself, sleep didn't mean that much to me. Like I said, I used to go hours on end without sleep when I was in college or had a paper due. It used to be nothing. I used to stay up late anyway, just chilling out, talking to friends, and so sleep was never that big a deal for me. It's just kind of lately, like since like the last maybe couple months, almost a year, like school and everything, it's just, I don't know, it changed.
School changed.
I felt like I changed a lot when school changed.
Okay. I'm not sure what you mean by school changed. Can you clarify that for me?
Well, I guess because my grad program, like, when I was in my undergrad, I was fine. I'm fine, but now that I'm in the grad, I guess also it just feels like I don't know, I'm not that excited about my grad program. Maybe that's what it is.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned the classes were just classes.
Right.
What got you into the program you're into right now?
When I graduated, when I first went to my undergrad, I wanted to do engineering. But I didn't do really well in the classes. And so just to stay in the university, I had to pick a different major. So I moved to sociology, and I wanted to do sports marketing and management, but they didn't offer it as a major, it was only a minor, so I had to do my major in sociology first. And when I graduated, the credits for some reason didn't count towards the sports marketing because they said I didn't have enough units, because I was a senior when they started offering it as a minor, so they wouldn't let me do like a continuation or anything, so I couldn't take summer or anything like that. I kind of just ended up staying with the soc major, just kind of leaving, and I never really thought, sociology is something I wanted to. I didn't even know what I could do with that.
Yeah.
And so, now it's just kind of like, well, I have this degree. What am I gonna do with it now?
Okay. So, what program are you in right now?
It is a psychology program.
Oh, okay. So, I'm wondering how you decided to get into the psychology program, and were there ever thoughts of pursuing sports management?
I mean, I tried to like still get into the sports market. I worked for a year and was trying to find a job there. It's just I couldn't find anything. There was nothing available,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know where or how to go. And I knew if I went back to school, I'd have to start completely over, and I didn't want to do that.
Right.
Didn't have the money to do that, so I always thought I'd like to help people like with psychology and stuff. And so my mom kind of convinced me to go into the school counseling. And so that's kind of what led me to this program because she worked as a school counselor and she told me that school counseling was a better way to go than just regular psychology.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, hearing kind of that sports is really what you wanted to do, and it's kind of was a bummer to you that it happened. They created it as a senior, and it just didn't work out for you to graduate in that. And you ended up with this major that you didn't really know what you were going to do with it. And you just kind of ended up in this psychology program with some encouragement from your mom. Is that all correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there something you wanted to say? I feel like I was interrupting you. Okay. So I'm just wondering, now that you're in the program and you feel like you're not really that excited about it or the classes that you're in, could that maybe be correlated to your feelings of tiredness, do you think?
Yeah, I was just wondering, what would boredom have to do with me being, I shouldn't say it like that, because I know what boredom has to do with you being tired, but like, I guess I never thought like just being somewhat dissatisfied would have to do with,
Mm-hmm.
Being tired.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, can you tell me what are the things in your life that you really enjoy right now?
I don't even know, and that's the thing. Like the things I do enjoy, it's like watching TV. I like this big gamer in high school. I still like to play games on occasion. I enjoy sports, but again, all these things. I look and I think like, what good is that going to do me in the real world? Like, none of that helps me to, in the future, like, all my hobbies, they're just that, they're hobbies. Like, I can't make a living off that. I'm trying to find something that I love and something that I want to do for the rest of my life, and I can't think of anything that I'd want to do as a career for the rest, of my life. I don't know what I would want, or what I could see myself doing again for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is difficult to determine.
I mean, I know what my dreams were. Like, I wanted to be a professional athlete, but that's not something you can necessarily go to school to become.
Right.
You can't study to be that. It's just kind of like you're either good or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, that's what I wanted. It didn't happen, and now I'm sitting here. I'm trying to think. Okay, so what else do I love vocationally? And I really don't know anything that I love vocationally right now. Something that, yes, I enjoy, but something that's actually productive and worthwhile. What would that be?
So you're in this grad psychology program, and do you have a goal with that after you graduate?
Yeah, just trying to find a job.
Okay. Can you picture yourself in any psychology jobs that you think that you would enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis, so that you would find fulfilling?
I mean, it's easy to imagine myself as a psychologist or counselor. Like, I've done it before, but I guess sitting through these classes and doing all this stuff, it's like sitting through, like, I get so bored and dejected. I was like, okay, would I really have the mental stamina to do all this? Like, am I going to remember all this stuff? Am I really going to be able to sit through someone talking for 30 minutes to an hour on end and be able to remember everything they say and try and build some kind of basis off of that?
Right.
I don't know. And, I've done internship work, and at my internship, I don't really enjoy the work that I do. It's just kind of, punch in, punch out, try and make it through the day.
Right. That is difficult when I know that you probably had those dreams, and when they didn't come true, trying to reimagine yourself in a different setting, in a different situation. I can see how that would be really, really something that weighs on you. I do think that it's great that you do have hobbies, though. I don't think that you should discount those hobbies, because even if you're doing things that you love and not getting paid for them, I think that can still bring a lot of joy to your life. So, do you feel that way, though? Are there ways that you feel like you could get involved in the things that you do really enjoy, even if it's not for an occupation?
I can, but then it just feels like, is that the best use of my time right now? And, even if I do enjoy it, like, it's nice to have those things, but at the end of the day, eventually I have to stop and, that's not going to be my reality. My reality is going to be, sitting in an office somewhere, trying to make it through the day. That feels like that's what the reality is, and that's just something that you can enjoy on the side, but it has to be in moderation. That my life, my enjoyment is going to be pretty much just moderation for the rest of my life.
Okay. So I hear that your feelings of tiredness have left you concerned for how you're feeling about your activities throughout the day, and that you are feeling a little discouraged about the program that you're in right now and where that's going to lead you in the future, and how you can find meaning in what you do in your day-to-day and what you do for an occupation. I think that we have laid a lot of good groundwork today, but we are running out of time. But I'd like to set up another meeting with you, possibly next week if you're available.
Okay.
Do you have a free day next week in the afternoon?
Wednesdays are good.
Wednesdays are good for you? Okay, I'll pencil you in for that at the same time. So I'll see you next week, Jeremy. It was really nice to meet you.
Really nice meeting you. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay.